A single hug, 3 seconds long, can make a woman think about you for 3 entire days. And no, that is not an exaggeration. That is neuroscience. But here is the part that should genuinely concern you. Most men are hugging women in a way that actually kills attraction on contact. She pulls away, and something inside her quietly files you under friend permanently, and you never even knew the audition was happening. Here is something I probably should not be telling you, but I am going to say it anyway because honestly, somebody needs to. Women decide how they feel about you physically within the first few seconds of a hug. Not during the long conversations, not during the expensive dinner, during the hug, that mundane, overlooked, hey, good to see you, hug that you probably put zero thought into the last time you greeted a woman. A study published in the journal Comprehensive Psychology found that a hug lasting at least 20 seconds triggers a significant release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone in both people involved. The psychology behind physical connection. Dr. Paul Zak, a neuroeconomist sometimes called Dr. Love, has spent years studying this exact mechanism, and his research confirms that physical touch, specifically embracing, can increase trust between two people by up to 50%. 50% from a hug, not from your resume, not from your car, a hug. And yet, and I say this with love, most men treat hugging a woman the way they treat parallel parking: rushed, awkward, slightly panicked, and over as fast as humanly possible. Or worse, they go the other direction and hold on like they are trying to win a wrestling match nobody signed up for. I am about to hand you 4 rules that most women will never verbalize out loud. These are the unspoken codes running in the background of every woman's mind when a man puts his arms around her. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why some men make women melt with a simple embrace, while others make them stiffen up like a plank of wood. But I need to warn you about something before we get into rule number 1. Rule number 3 is the one that changes everything. It is the one thing almost no man does. And when you hear it, you're going to realize exactly why certain hugs you have given in the past fell completely flat. Rule number 1, read her signals first. So make sure you stay for that one. It might genuinely change the way women respond to you. Let us start. Most men think the hug starts when their arms wrap around a woman. Wrong. The hug starts the moment she sees you coming toward her, and this is where attraction is either built or buried. Think about it from her perspective for a second. A man is walking toward her. His shoulders are slumped forward, his eyes are darting around nervously. He does that weird little half-jog thing because he is not sure if she is going for a hug or a handshake. Then he opens his arms at the last second with all the confidence of someone trying to return a shirt without a receipt. What do you think her body registers in that moment? Safety? Warmth? Attraction? Absolutely not. Her nervous system reads hesitation, and hesitation is the silent killer of attraction. Now contrast that with a man who sees her, holds eye contact with a soft, warm expression. Not a stare, not a glare, a genuine look of "I am glad you are here," and walks toward her with steady, unhurried energy. His arms open naturally, not too early, not too late. There is no question about what is about to happen. He has already decided, and that certainty, that is what makes her stomach flip before he even touches her. Doctor. Albert Mehrabian's famous communication study showed that 55% of emotional communication is conveyed through body language, more than half. So, the way you walk, rule number 2, the power of timing toward a woman before a hug is literally communicating more than anything you could say to her verbally. Your approach is a sentence. Make it say, "I am someone worth holding on to," not, "I am not sure I am allowed to be here." Here is a detail that most men overlook entirely. The slight pause right before you make contact. There should be a fraction of a second, just a beat where you are close enough that she can feel your presence, but your arms have not closed yet. That micro moment creates anticipation, and anticipation, according to behavioral psychologists, activates the same dopamine pathways in the brain as the reward itself. You are giving her brain a tiny hit of excitement before the hug even begins. So, rule number 1 is this. The hug starts with your approach, not your arms. Walk toward her with calm intention. Hold gentle eye contact. Open your arms with certainty, and give her that one beat pause before you close the distance. She will feel the difference immediately, even if she cannot explain why. Now, rule number 2 is where most men make themselves instantly forgettable. And honestly, it breaks my heart a little because the fix is so simple. Here's a sentence that might rearrange rule number 3: confidence without force, your entire understanding of physical touch. The amount of pressure you use in a hug tells a woman exactly how you feel about her, and it does so in a language her conscious mind is not even processing. Her body is reading it. Her subconscious is filing it, and the verdict it reaches will influence how she thinks about you for days. Too light. And she feels like she is hugging a ghost. You know that hug, the one where a man barely touches her back with his fingertips, like he is afraid she is made of wet tissue paper. That hug communicates one thing very clearly: I do not feel confident enough to hold you properly. And while it might seem polite, what it actually signals is a lack of presence. She will not feel anything from that hug. No spark, no warmth, nothing worth remembering. Too tight. And she feels trapped. There is a massive difference between a firm, secure embrace and a squeeze that makes her wonder if you are trying to crack a walnut between your shoulder blades. When a man grips too hard, a woman's sympathetic nervous system can actually activate a mild stress response. Her body tenses, her breathing shortens, and instead of oxytocin flooding her system, cortisol steps in. You have turned what should be a bonding moment into a survival moment. Rule number 4: the subtle detail that changes everything, not ideal. The sweet spot, backed by haptic communication research from DePaul University, is a firm but yielding pressure. Firm enough that she feels your presence, firm enough that she registers strength, but yielding enough that she never feels like she cannot pull away if she wanted to. That balance between strength and gentleness, that is what triggers the feeling of safety. And safety for women is the gateway drug to attraction. Now, placement where you put your hands during a hug matters more than you probably realize. Hands high on her upper back communicate warmth and respect. Hands at her mid-back communicate comfort and familiarity. One hand on her upper back and one at the back of her head. That is the hug that makes women lose their minds. And I will tell you exactly why in rule number 3, which is coming up next. But before that, here is a small detail about hand placement that women notice immediately. Flat palms. When a man places his full open palms on her back during a hug, it communicates openness and genuine connection. When a man uses just his fingertips or cups his hands awkwardly, it communicates nervousness and attachment. This is not me being picky. This is common mistakes to avoid thousands of years of evolutionary wiring interpreting touch at the neurological level. Your palms are dense with nerve endings, and when they press flat against someone, the brain registers it as full contact connection. Fingertips register as tentative and uncertain. So, rule number 2, apply firm yielding pressure strong enough to feel gentle enough to feel safe, and use full open palms placed intentionally on her back. Your hands are speaking a language right now. Make sure they are saying the right thing. And now, rule number 3. This is the one I told you about at the beginning. This single element separates a forgettable hug from the kind that makes a woman replay the moment in her head while she is lying in bed at night staring at her ceiling. What I'm about to tell you is something that 95% of men have never once considered while hugging a woman, and it is the most powerful tool in your entire physical communication arsenal. Breathe into the hug and pause before you pull away. Let me explain why this is so devastatingly effective. When a man hugs a woman and she can feel him take a slow, deep breath. Final insight. Attraction is felt, not forced while holding her. Not a sigh, not a dramatic inhale, just a natural, calm, deep breath. Something extraordinary happens in her nervous system. Her body begins to mirror his breathing pattern. This is called respiratory synchronization, and it is a well-documented phenomenon in interpersonal neurobiology. Dr. Daniel Siegel, a clinical professor of psychiatry at UCLA, has written extensively about how co-regulation of breathing between two people creates a state of neural resonance. In plain language, your calm breath tells her nervous system you are safe. You can relax. And when a woman relaxes into a man, that is when genuine attraction starts to root itself. Most men hug like they're in a speed eating contest. Arms go on, arms come off, done. Next activity. The entire thing lasts maybe 1.5 seconds. That is not a hug. That is a collision with a polite exit. Nothing is being communicated. No oxytocin is being released. No connection is being formed. You might as well have just waved. The pause before pulling away is where the real magic lives. When the hug naturally reaches its conclusion, and you will feel it, instead of immediately releasing, hold for 1 extra second. Just one. That single additional second signals something that words cannot express. It says, I was not in a rush. I was present with you. That moment meant something. And a woman will feel that distinction in her bones. Now, here is why I said this rule changes everything. Combined with rule number 2, firm pressure, open palms, the breath and pause, create what psychologists call a felt sense of being held. It is the difference between being hugged and being held. Being hugged is mechanical. Being held is emotional. And women crave the emotional version with an intensity that most men never fully grasp. One more thing about this rule that I almost hesitated to share. When you take that slow breath during the hug and she is close enough to feel your chest rise and fall, there is a secondary effect happening that she is not even aware of. She is inhaling your scent more deeply. And according to research from the Manel Chemical Senses Center, a woman's olfactory system is directly linked to the limbic system, the part of the brain that processes emotion and memory. So that calm breath you take is also causing her to encode your scent into her emotional memory. She will associate how she feels in that moment, safe, warm, attracted, with the way you smell. And the next time she catches a hint of that scent, those feelings flood back. This is why some women say things like, I do not know what it is about him. I just feel something when he is close. It is not a mystery. It is biochemistry triggered by intentional presence, and it all starts with a breath and a pause. Rule number 3, breathe slowly during the hug and pause for 1 extra beat before you release. That single adjustment will put you in a category of men that most women rarely encounter. Now, rule number 4. This is the one that separates men who are merely attractive from men who become unforgettable. Every man focuses on how to go into a hug. Almost no man thinks about how to come out of one. And honestly, the exit is where the deepest impression is made. Here is what most men do. The hug ends and they pull away abruptly like someone just yelled, "Fire!" Eye contact breaks immediately. They step back too far. They shove their hands in their pockets, and just like that, the warm, connected moment that was just building evaporates into awkwardness. Whatever emotional residue the hug created gets erased in 2 seconds of clumsy withdrawal. Here is what the exit should look like. When you pull away, do it slowly, not dramatically slow. You are not filming a perfume commercial, but at a pace that communicates reluctance. Like you did not particularly want the hug to end. As you pull back, let your hands trail across her back slightly, rather than just lifting off. That trailing sensation sends a cascade of signals through the nerve endings in her skin that register as lingering desire. And here is the critical part. When your faces are close during that pull-away moment, and they will be because you pulled away slowly, hold eye contact for 2 to 3 seconds and give a small, genuine smile. Not a grin, not a smirk, a soft, warm smile that says, "That was nice." Those 2 to 3 seconds of close proximity eye contact after a hug trigger what Dr. Arthur Aaron's famous intimacy research identified as one of the most powerful bonding mechanisms in human interaction. Sustained mutual gaze activates the release of phenylethylamine, a neurotransmitter associated with the feeling of falling in love. You are literally giving her brain a taste of romantic attachment chemistry in a 3-second unwind after a hug. There is one more layer to this that I want you to understand. The way you exit a hug sets the frame for her anticipation of the next one. If your exit is warm, slow, and connected, her brain begins to associate your embraces with pleasure and emotional safety. Behavioral psychology calls this classical conditioning. The next time she sees you, her body will begin releasing feel-good chemicals before you even touch her, because it has already learned that your hugs end in a way that feels incredible. Conversely, if your exits are abrupt and disconnected, her brain learns that your hugs lead to an uncomfortable moment of awkwardness, and over time she will start subtly avoiding physical contact with you. Not because she does not like you, but because her nervous system has been conditioned to expect a negative emotional drop after touching you. Rule number 4, exit the hug slowly. Let your hands trail gently. Hold close eye contact with a warm smile for 2 to 3 seconds. Make the ending of every hug feel like a promise that the next one will be even better. That is how you become the man she cannot stop thinking about. So, let me bring all of this together for you. Rule 1, your approach communicates everything before your arms even open. Walk with calm intention. Hold gentle eye contact and give that one beat pause before closing the distance. Rule 2, use firm, yielding pressure with flat open palms placed deliberately on her back. Rule 3, breathe slowly into the hug and pause 1 extra second before releasing, allowing her nervous system to synchronize with yours. Rule 4, exit slowly. Let your hands trail and hold close eye contact with a soft smile to create lasting emotional imprint. 4 rules. None of them require you to be taller. None of them require you to be richer. None of them require you to have a jawline carved by Michelangelo. They require presence, intention, and the understanding that women experience attraction through how you make them feel, not through what you tell them you are. Every hug you give from this point forward is an opportunity not just to greet someone, not just to say goodbye, but to communicate something that most men never learn to say without words. I am someone who makes you feel safe, wanted, and alive. Now, here is what I want you to do, and pay attention because this matters. The next time you hug a woman, whether it is tomorrow, whether it is tonight, whether it is in 10 minutes, I want you to apply just one of these 4 rules, just one, and I want you to pay attention to her response. Watch her face when you pull away. Notice if she lingers a half second longer than usual. Notice if she touches her hair or looks at you differently afterward. You will see the evidence with your own eyes, and once you see it work once, you will never go back to hugging the old way again. Come back to this video after that happens and tell me about it in the comments. I want to hear your story, not because it helps me, because it proves to every other man reading those comments that this actually works. And if what you just learned shifted something in your brain, if you are starting to realize that attraction operates on a level most men never bother to study, then you are ready for what comes next. Right now on your screen, there's a video called 4 Psychological Traits That Make Any Woman Chase You, Female Psychology. That video takes everything you just learned about physical presence and goes deeper into the psychological architecture behind female attraction. The hugging rules I just gave you create a spark. The 4 traits in that video turn that spark into a fire she cannot walk away from. That is not a suggestion. That is the natural next step if you are serious about understanding what actually makes women pursue a man. Click it now while this information is still fresh in your mind.